Police tape and flowers, the grimly familiar ritual of another death on our streets.
So Israel Ogunsola becomes the 35th person to die in London this year as a result of knife crime. The authorities are scrambling for an effective policy response. It is not clear, however, that what has worked in other British cities to reduce knife crime is going to work in London.
We don't yet know anything about the circumstances around this young man's death, but speaking before this latest tragedy, the Met Commissioner, Cressida Dick, said that in London, social media was turning petty squabbles into bloody battles, sometimes in a matter of minutes. One of Hackney's MPs is sceptical of this explanation.
Social media is a symptom, it's not a cause. The underlying issues are social, they're educational, even economic, because some of these young men that are out on the street in gangs, it's partly because there don't seem to be any opportunities for them in the wider society. So there's a lot of things we need to crack down on social media, but they are a symptom of this rising tide of violence. They are not the cause.
Guys, somebody's passing, man.
On Hackney Marshes, some young men gather in the evening sun to play football. Bobby Kazanga started Hackney Wick FC as something to do when he got out of prison 3 years ago. He says social media is central to the current wave of violence. He told me how gangs post videos that escalate quickly.
One of them will go over to the other area and say, look, we're in your area, there's nothing you can do about it. And they will see it as an embarrassment. Oh, we let these guys in our area, we should go to theirs. And then when someone slips up and gets caught, because they say, oh, that's that guy that was in that video, he gets caught, he may get beaten up, and that video goes viral and everything spreads like wildfire. And then there'll be the comments like, oh, this was meant to be the so-called gangster, and look, it's embarrassing that he's got him beaten up, that he's not that tough. So that embarrassment that they feel, they want to retaliate, and then things are just spiraling out of control, and you've seen it everywhere across London.
It's about profile. People, some of it is about profile.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, some of it. I wouldn't attribute all of it to profile, but it's definitely something that's adding to the fuel. Whereas before, where people have punch-ups, no one would know about it. It would just be a low-key thing. I wouldn't know who you are from. I mean, I could be from, I'm from Peckham, and I could have come to Hackney and no one would have known who I was.
Over the last few days, many have pointed to Glasgow as a city that London should emulate. Glasgow has managed to drastically reduce violent crime by treating it as a public health issue. But according to one academic who studied the approach, the parallels are limited.
I guess one of the key differences between London and Glasgow is the racial dimension. So the knife crime and violence problem in Scotland has historically been one of poor young men, and there hasn't been a racial dimension to that. And of course we've seen within many of the problems in London, not just at the moment, but even looking back to the London riots, that racial tensions within the community were part of the problem for that. So in addition to a kind of multi-agency response, there needs to be ways of trying to identify, bringing the police and the communities together and ensuring that the response to violence isn't seen as a punitive response to racial problems.
That is a warning to say, like, London's actually...
Bobby Kasanga agrees that in Hackney, mistrust of the police is common and widespread among the young men and boys he works with. If social media and technology are the problem, I asked him, what's the solution?
If you know there's more police around, you'll think twice about carrying a knife. You think, oh, I'm not going to walk over there with a knife because there's a police there. So it's about more visibility. And I'll also say, keep them busy. I mean, as you can see behind me now, there's kids playing football during the holidays, and we normally train our kids maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but for those other 4 days in a week, we don't know what they're up to. We don't know what influences they're getting. But if there was the money from the government to say, okay, there's football Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, these kids will turn up because there's something for them to do. And the more you're keeping them doing positive activities, the less they're going out there carrying knives.